everybody. Welcome back. Business and Life Stories podcast with Mike and James. This week, we're super excited to have Cherie Werner with us. She's done so many amazing things. She's basically the mother and chief kindness officer, and everybody wants to meet her person in Austin, Texas for like all the startups that are here. Incredible person. And I'm super excited because Cherie, like so many of you keep asking me about, you want to hear from more people that have done more types of companies and more different things. So Cherie is running FIESTA here in Austin, which we'll talk about in a minute. She's also one of the co-founders of KOYA, which is a super cool thing. And she also knows a whole lot about wine. So let me ask you, Cherie, red or white?
Oh, red. Definitely red.
All right, right answer.
Yeah. So, and I would say Pinots. I love Pinots and Cabs.
So you've done so many different things, but if anyone looks at your LinkedIn profile, it's like you went to University of Louisiana at Lafayette. So do you speak Cajun?
Definitely. I mean, my family's still there.
So how do you say welcome, audience, in Cajun?
Welcome, audience.
There you go.
Mike, there we go.
Yeah, just getting a little silly. It's okay.
Yeah,
So
I've been gone so long. So from the Cajun country, we left right out of college and went to Virginia. So
how did you get the idea to do FIESTA?
oh my gosh. I love telling this story. So our core value as a family has always been connection. And, during COVID, so many of us, especially the extroverts, kind of struggled with the whole idea of not being able to get out and see people. And I started doing Lunch Club, which is a platform where they curate these one-on-one conversations. And I probably did from October, I think 2020 to 2021, over 100 and something calls, because they do they were doing them on Thursday, Fridays, and you sign up for however many you're available for. And it was a great way to work on my communication skills and also become a better listener. I decided during COVID that I would definitely use that time, and that nobody knew how much that time was going to be to grow in areas. I mean, I did online courses, and while I was meeting all these individuals, anybody that had moved to Austin had pretty much the same story. They could work anywhere, but they chose Austin, and they were a startup founder. And I was fascinated by that because, I mean, moving is difficult in and of itself, but to move during a pandemic when you know nobody and you're leaving family behind, it fascinated me for the reason because as a company, KOYA, we were trying to help end, we want to be part of ending the loneliness epidemic that is so prevalent in this country. And I just kind of always felt like, oh my, that must be so lonely, And then when things started opening up, I had the emails of those folks that had moved to Austin, and I just invited them out to Easy Tiger for a gathering. And I think we had like 50-ish people show up. And I thought, this is great. I want to do this. And so the very next day, I got an email about a group that I had attended on Meetup that was going to disband if somebody didn't step up and take over. And it was a group, I think it was for founders, early startup founders. And we had attended, several times. And I thought, okay, that's the answer. I mean, when a door opens, you walk through it. I mean, don't shut it. And so that's kind of how it got started. It was just the idea of gathering people and fulfilling a need that I had. I almost didn't do it though, because I felt like I was too old. I was like, I have nothing in common with these early, founders. But then I realized that it was just having an open heart and a desire to welcome people to Austin and kind of be their first point of contact. So that's how we got started, and we'll be a year. Well, actually, we're a year now because I took over the group July 1st of last year, and we've grown.
So has it been all word of mouth?
For the most part, I would say word of mouth. I advertise on Meetup, and this year I started using Eventbrite. I would say when I took over the Meetup group that we were part of at the time, I always forget what it was called, but we changed the name, and in August we changed it to FIESTA, and the name which stands for Founders, Investors, Entrepreneurs, Startups, Techies, and Austin Newcomers, which is very inclusive. And I did it that way on purpose because I wanted people to feel like it was a place of belonging. And we kind of describe it as we're the Ellis Island of Austin. People kind of land here. It's their first experience of being in Austin. And I'm saying that, and I'll give you some statistics around it. And then we're kind of encouraging them to go out into the community and helping them to connect with the different event organizers, events that are going on, service providers, etc. Because if you're new to Austin, how do you know where all these people are unless someone's kind of helping direct you? And our last event, because we always do it on the same day of the week, it's always the third Tuesday of the month and same time. So consistency I felt was super important. That way it could be word of mouth. If you met somebody and you had attended and they were new to Austin, you could say, oh, you should go to this, Fiesta group. They meet on the third Tuesday. So it made it really easy. But our last event, we had, let's see, I'm going to have to put my glasses on because I can't see. But so of those that have been here less than 6 months, it was 23%. And those that were visiting had been here 6 to 12 months, it was 17%, which that's 40% of those who were at the event had been here less than a year. And that has been every month, since I started keeping data on all of this, which I find fascinating. Plus, we usually have about 73%. It was their very first time coming to Fiesta this last month, but that's about what it is. So 50% monthly are bringing you to Fiesta. So it's always churning over. And then they're going out into the ecosystem, which is what Fiesta is all about. They're finding their place.
So what are some common things you're seeing, positive or negative, in the entrepreneurs and the startup side? Or what frustrations are you seeing over and over, and kind of what positive things are people bringing?
I would say some of the common things, a lot of the early stage startup founders that are moving here, they're young. I'm surprised at how young, because when I say young, like 20s, early 30s, I think that's young because I have 3 daughters. My youngest is 21, and then I have a 31 and 33 who are part of the KOYA business. And so, they're young compared to my older daughters, which I find fascinating. And let's see, what else is common? I think a lot of them are trying to figure out, how to, where to go and what to do, which is part of the impetus behind Fiesta. If you go out to fiesta.community, it's our website that we started in March. Part of getting that up and going was to provide resources. So I have like a resource for all the different accelerators and incubators that are here in Austin. I have a resource guide for service providers. So if you're a service provider, you can go and add your services to that, because again, where does a founder start? Word of mouth, what is recommended by other founders. I have a resource guide for the various event organizers who are helping, startup founders, or they're hosting events like FIESTA, but they're a little bit different, because in my opinion, networking is one of the most important things that any founder can do. It's, you're learning to give your pitch and communicate with people, all that are necessary to get in front of a VC. So I'm, trying to provide and make things very transparent and easily accessible to startup founders. Or, as we were talking earlier, there have been several people coming from New Zealand internationally, and some people, Casey was one. He went online and did a search for community, and came up, Fiesta popped up, and so he reached out, and that's how we ended up connecting. And one of the really cool things about it was he was here, didn't really know the area well, ended up with Airbnb very far out of the city, and I needed someone to watch my cat, and said, hey, why don't you come watch my cat? And he got a place to stay fairly close to the city, and it ended up being a win-win. And I got to meet an amazing young man who's going to do great things with his business. And he's planning on coming back. So he made a friend, which is, I think, kind of cool.
One of the phrases that you have on your KOYA website is super, just hit me so hard when I first saw it, was that your mission was ending relational poverty.
Yeah.
That so well describes what's going on. This was happening before the lockdowns. Just intensified it.
Yeah, 100%. I think one of the best books that I came across, actually on Lunch Club, one of the first 5 calls I had was with a young man, Caesar, here in Austin. And he was a community builder. I mean, I love how things like that happen. And after our conversation, probably 2 weeks later, I got in the mail from Amazon a book called Together by Dr. Victor Mathurther. Let me see. I have it right here somewhere. Anyway, he's the Attorney General, Surgeon General for Biden right now, and was the Surgeon General for Obama. And he thought he was going to be focusing on like the opioid crisis, but what ended up happening is, as he talked to individuals around the U.S., the underlying issue was loneliness. And so that was what the whole book is about. And so I think as a family, because connection is such a high core value of ours, we wanted to provide a tool that was more one-to-one for family and friends to stay meaningfully connected. And that is still our mission. But the ultimate goal is that we want to be known as ending relational poverty. And part of that is helping people connect, helping people feel like there's a place of belonging for them, welcoming people into our home. Those are some of the things that we stopped doing. And, looking people in the eye and smiling at the barista and saying thank you. I mean, it's just small things that we can do that can make someone's day, asking, how's your day going? So yeah, that's the heart behind KOYA and what we aim to do.
And I really love that so much. It's gotten to a point, particularly because of the 2-year lockdown, combined with people moving into Austin from all different parts of the world.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Texas raised. I've always been, you just smile at everybody. You're polite to everybody. You hold open doors. I mean, you just don't, these things are very common to Texas culture, right? It's funny to me, sad when people come in from another state that's not like that.
Yeah.
And you hold open a door for somebody, you're like, what the heck? Like,
yeah.
Dude, I'm not going to slam it on you. Just being polite.
No, 100%. And, one of the things I hear most frequently is, everybody's so kind and like, generous with wanting to genuinely help one another, which I love hearing that. So and I hope that doesn't go away with people moving in. I hope we have this, pass it on mentality, like, what's been given unto you, you give to others. And we can keep that going.
So kindness is contagious. What are some things that you do or that you've seen work well for maybe the person's a little more resistant or they're not used to being in a kind and helpful environment? Maybe they came from a city we could all name, but we won't.
Yeah, and it's so funny because one of my friends that I recently met, is, you know, w- very kind of abrupt and stuff like that. And I, you know, I think you lead by example. More is caught than taught. And so if you want people to respect your time, respect their time, be on time, be punctual. If when asked to RSVP, I think that's probably one of my biggest pet peeves about being an event organizer is the number of people who will sign up for an event and not show up. I mean, for example, we had 347 people sign up on one of the registration platforms, and only 114 of those people showed up. That's a lot. And then, I mean, as an
Yeah.
event organizer, we're giving of our time and we're planning with those people in mind, like they're coming. Now, I hear people say, oh, just count on 30% showing up. And that's true, but it shouldn't be true.
Right.
Our yes should be yes. And, we shouldn't have that fear of missing out. It's like, you commit to doing something, do it. So kindness, I think, also is, like I said earlier, looking people in the eye and saying thank you, asking how their day is, um, offering, to help if someone's sick. I mean, with KOYA, one of the cool things that I love to do is, we have some friends that just got back and from traveling and they had COVID. And so I was able to send them a KOYA just saying, hey, welcome back home. I can't wait to hear about your trip to Italy and enjoy dinner on us. And we gave them a DoorDash gift card. Yeah, can't bring the meal there, but I can send them a DoorDash and they can order what they like, which I think is kind of cool. So KOYA has actually allowed us that opportunity to extend kindness in ways as you see fit.
So what is, as I was looking at the KOYA website, the question came in, what is different about KOYA versus just sort of doing that stuff by yourself? Like what does the website add for the user?
Yeah, so um, we now are B2B, so we're focusing mainly on HR being able to extend, I mean, to help them retain their employees. I mean,
Mm,
everybody wants to know that they belong and they're making a difference. And with this great resignation of people walking away from jobs, I think that part of what employers can do and is let the employee know, like, hey, kudos on getting X, Y, and Z done, and enjoy dinner on me, and send a gift card for whatever amount. It's not really the amount, I think, that is as important as the messaging, in that people want to feel seen and know that what they're doing matters. Um, so that's kind of what we're focusing on now. And you can easily do the B2C, like to family and friends, schedule out birthdays, or if you're going to, a dinner party and you want to thank the hostess for having you over, you can send a KOYA. So there's a lot of ways that it can be used. Our core value, though, is to get back to, B2B, then get back to the consumer so that family and friends are using it with one another. It's, I kind of view it like the personal Hallmark card, because you know the sentiments that you want to give to somebody. And I think that they're more meaningful than just a card in and of itself.
I loved it when I saw the website. And now that you just mentioned it, I hadn't thought about this till you said it, but I'm going to start using that KOYA site when I'm invited to events to schedule something to send like a week after the event before I even go to the event, because now it's all set and I don't have to think about it later. This is great.
Well, and we were talking to somebody that had come over to visit and was staying here. And he said that Sundays are going to be his KOYA days. He's going to sit down and he's going to think about the folks that he wants to send out KOYAs to, you know, and he wants to integrate it into like a weekly habit for himself. And I love that. And, you know, eventually, I mean, right now, I feel like I'm juggling so many different things with KOYA, you know, family and FIESTA. I mean, FIESTA has become, because it's such a passion, like a full-time job in and of itself. But my ultimate goal would be to use KOYA to thank my sponsors, to, you know, reach out to the community members when they've come like 3 times, 6 times, 12 times, you know, because letting them know that they're seen and valued for their participation, to me, that means something. I mean, they're part of the community. They're making the community what it is. And I notice when people aren't there. So maybe even using it to reach out to somebody when they haven't been around, like, hey, I haven't seen you in a while. I hope everything is well. I mean, I could pick up the phone, but that's kind of, you know, if you don't know somebody that well, that can be kind of weird. But yeah, there's all kinds of uses. For people who want to schedule out birthdays or anniversaries ahead of time, you can do that with KOYA. But yeah.
I really like it. I know James wanted to delve more into story. He's the story guy.
Yeah.
Mike asks all the sensible questions. Well, I mean, I just feel so blessed that you've sort of given us this time, and our other guests too, because Mike, I hear this recurring theme of kindness and love and heart within business coming out through COVID, through what we've all been through in the last 2 or 3 years. And I think that Mike tells me about this, the famous quote, I think it's by Warren Buffett, right? When the tide goes out, we see who's swimming naked. They've always been swimming naked, but we haven't seen it. And why I mention that isn't so much for physical anatomy, it's your point of loneliness. Like, this loneliness hasn't just come in the last couple of years. It's been increasing. We've heard it about in the teenage suicides. We've heard it about adult suicides, abuse, like the list goes on and on and on, right? And it was almost like, yeah, it's not really happening, and we're just having a great time, and we're like flying across the world, or like doing what kind of people did, right? And then so much was seemingly taken away from us. All this seems to have done is it's almost given us not the enlightenment, but it's given us the vision to see maybe what was going on. The sand's been blown away, and there's the statue, which has been quietly growing for say 10 years or 15 years, or whatever the case may be, but now it's there. And then so I just feel so blessed that and haven't we heard this, Mike, like time and time again? It's been wonderful, and it's been so wonderful to hear your story too, about kind of putting the heart into entrepreneurism, putting the heart into startups, KOYA, with the opportunity to giving another platform to express gratitude, and I'm feeling quite emotional because it really is. It's through the hardship. It's brought out the best within so many people. People have like stepped up and said, I kind of see what's going on. Like, what can I do about this? And so that was my little bit of philosophical kind of deepness there. But it's been. I mean, have you seen that? Have you also? I mean, you're obviously a walking example, but have you also seen it within the startup scene? Maybe it's softened a little bit, or maybe people are coming from more a heart-led approach to a business rather than kind of hard facts and figures.
I think so. The word that comes to mind is choice. We all have a choice, and I think that, definitely COVID was a wake up for so many people, because we saw the fragility of life. So many lives were taken, and by COVID and by suicide. I know my family has experienced, my daughters have experienced friends who have taken their lives, and it doesn't make sense. So, and I think that when things like that happen, you have to look at life differently and decide, what mark are you going to leave? What are you going to do to make it better? So some of the startups that I am seeing are kind of focused on that. Like, I think of one social media company, VlogMe, and they are young. Like I want to say like 18. No, she has to be 21 now. So really young 20s. And they're looking at doing social media in real time, without filters, without stuff. So you have all the comparison and stuff. And I love that. I think that's really great. But there are, one young man is wanting to, what do you do with all this trash that we have? Can we take it and make something, that would be useful, like a home? So I see people, trying to solve problems. Just like I said, just having a helping hand up. I think a servant leadership maybe is what I'm trying to describe, is like you lead by serving others. And so I see a lot of individuals doing that for one another, which I love. And again, I think it's leading by example. I think it takes people off guard, and then it makes them kind of look at and question life is like, what can I do that contributes versus takes? Because there's so many takers in the world.
Yeah.
And that,
sadly,
yeah. So
I think, I think you're absolutely spot on. This has really given people an opportunity for reflection, for insight from that reflection. And I think you explained it so well. It was like leading by example, and that doesn't have to be like starting a startup. It could be, you're absolutely right, saying hello to the cashier. How's your day going? And it just needs to start with small things, and like just continual small things, like get into the habit. And you're absolutely right, Mike. Like not everyone has the habit of maybe that kind of friendly small talk. And so it's like, what does that lead onto? And I really feel that there's a scene of maybe a snowball is kind of gathering pace in that, trying to it goes back to that what Gandhi said, hey, we what's that famous phrase of his, we are what we want the world to become, or something, or and what I hear from you is you're kind of creating that, aren't you? Sort of a welcoming, a nurturing, a gratitude within the startup scene, within, I don't know,
yeah. It's been truly a joy. So I hope that's what comes across to others. So yeah.
So how many heavy lifting, heavy duty investors do you figure are showing up at the Fiesta events?
I actually know. I keep track. So we have anywhere from this last event we had over 30, because when they check in, we ask, are you a founder? Are you an investor? And so anywhere from 30 to 50, typically. They don't go around announcing, hey, I'm an investor.
Oh, I
I mean,
hope
they're kind of
not.
like it's kind of like a fly on the wall. And I
Yeah.
think what's really cool about that is each event, so let me share how the event kind of takes place. So we start at 5:30 and it's 5:30 to 6:40-ish. It's kind of networking. We serve pizza, there's wine, beer, water. There's a company, free water, that brings and donates the water. We have beer, in-kind sponsorship, which has been wonderful. And then around 6:40, we kind of go into the programming, which is really highlighting some of what I call the community members. So you have to have come to one of our events in the past and be part of our Slack channel. And then you can sign up to do a 1-minute pitch, and we do about 8 to 10 of them. And it's just, I mean, my mentality is I didn't want a bunch of people critiquing it and stuff like that, because that's subjective.
Yeah.
But the idea of getting in front of 200 people, I thought was really beneficial. And I've had so much positive feedback about how beneficial it was to some of the founders. And then we, go back into networking, because once you've been up and been able to pitch your company, then if there are investors in there or founders who want to talk to you, they know who you are now, which I love. I'm thinking about doing, like we're 1 year in, you do something consistently and you try and do it well, and then you add to it,
Mhm.
So this next year, in July 6th, we're adding our next event, which we'll plan on doing monthly, which is a women's lunch and learn for female founders. And it's just an opportunity for females to come together and have a safe space to ask questions and share what they're struggling with. Because a lot of networking events you go to, it's genuinely like an 80-20% ratio, 80% males and 20% females, if that. Fiesta, I'm so grateful. We're about 30% female, which I love. So, I mean, the diversity is definitely there. And then, we ended 8:30, and I had people milling around that I have to kind of shoo off. And so a lot of them go to a bar close by, because they're truly connecting. And that's the beautiful thing about that. Each month after the event, I kind of look at, what did we do well? What can we do better? And what can we add? That's kind of like my thing. And I'm going to share my most favorite birthday gift. My birthday was in May, at the end of May. And it's not about gifts. It's about thoughtfulness. And so, and to me, thoughtfulness is a gift. A thoughtful gift is like, you hear somebody talking about like, this is my favorite cookie or favorite coffee brand. And then you get that. So with Fiesta, one of my biggest pain points was checking people in, because you have all these people signing up and you don't know who's really getting there. And I really wanted to collect the data, and we're not doing anything with the data. We're just holding on and just trying to figure out who's coming, how can we help. And so for my birthday, I opened the bag and it was a printer. It was a label printer, name tags, and on it, it said, to the Fiesta Queen. And my kids got me this printer, and my daughter's boyfriend actually made this code. So now when people check in, it prints out their name and their company on this label, and you can scan it so that it leads you to their LinkedIn or Twitter account, and it creates a profile for them. I mean, it's like, and there's so many more things that he's planning on adding to it, and making it truly a rich connecting community. Because if I go through the event and I scan 15 name tags and I'm talking to people because I am interested in them, I'll get an email shortly after the event that will tell me these are the people you connected with, which I think is amazing.
Oh,
So
that's cool.
yeah, so we're going to try and help people who are at networking events be able to genuinely connect, because it's so frustrating. You go and you're like, oh my gosh, who was this guy? And I mean, I can't tell you how many times I pull out my phone and try and do the LinkedIn thing, and I connect with them and they never add. And I don't know how to, or it could be user error on my part. And so I just never make that connection. And I genuinely would love to be able to follow up and stuff. So, but yeah, that was my most favorite birthday gift. Thank you, Jordan, Courtney, and Karen, and John. So very thoughtful.
They're KOYA co-founders and your family.
I know. So anyway, yeah. So that's kind of what the event is like. And as we move into this next new year, my hope is to add more things that are truly beneficial. Like, for the founder, my mantra is that KOYA, FIESTA is about helping the founders, the startup founders, find the community builders. And there's so many incredible community builders in Austin, whether they're service providers or VCs or accelerators and incubators. I just want them to see what's available to them before they quickly make a decision and are kind of locked into something. And you don't know what you don't know. So I'm trying to help them know.
And I love the fact that the FIESTA event is like a living encyclopedia. You could go to the encyclopedia and look stuff up. You could go to the online encyclopedia known as Google and look stuff up.
Yeah.
Or you could go talk to real live people. Now, talking to live people is so much better, especially in a welcoming environment like you've created. So
Yeah.
I'm super happy this is in Austin.
Yeah. Have you been?
I have not. I was supposed to go and I got COVID, and I was like, do I go? Well, my friends that are Marines wouldn't care, but we're a small number. So I should probably not spread this virus. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
I wasn't really going to spread that, but I did call a couple of my buddies like, are we scared of this? They're like, no.
So many people ask me about that. It's like, are you scared? And I'm like, I don't want to live in fear. I mean,
Right.
And the flu, I mean, I think we were talking earlier and you were talking about you would take having COVID over the flu anytime, because the flu for you has been worse.
Right.
I think we're going to catch something. I mean, when you're around people, I want to live life fully. I don't want to live in fear. And I think that also kind of helped FIESTA. There was such a pent up demand for getting together.
Yes.
And by opening up back in July, and saying, I will meet, and those who are comfortable coming are welcome. And if you're not comfortable, I understand. I think everybody has to make their own decision. I probably will kind of lead my life that way, because I think I'm energized. I mean, being around people and seeing people connect and being able to be part, just a little bit of that story. I mean, that's what fills my cup.
Yeah, and we love that. This is something James and I have told our clients, all our clients. Some listen, some don't.
Mm-hmm.
Like, all that stuff in your head as a company founder or the sales exec or whatever your position is in that early stage company, keeping your energy up and having that energy be real, not something you're trying to force. It's absolutely crucial to be out talking to real people as often as you can be without trying to sell. Get out there making connections is so important.
Yeah. I think that is such a great point, is that you should go into connections with giving versus taking, because people will sniff that out a mile away.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to turn. And so again, I think that when there's more to be gotten when you give. Because I mean, all ships rise. My daughters tell me that all the time. It's like all ships rise. You know, when you're helping other people, you know, go up, you're going to go up too. So, and there's no lack in the kingdom either.
Never.
That's yeah. So I kind of like, okay, I love that. They have all kinds of fun sayings.
Oh yeah.
Beautiful saying.
Yeah.
I am going to have to jump off.
Yep, we're going to close out.
Mike, I'll hand over.
Okay. So down below the video, there's going to be links for you folks that want to connect with Cherie. There'll be a link to her KOYA website, which I actually thought was pretty cool. So I think everybody should go check that out. And if it's something that fits you, use it. Definitely. It's a good way not to forget things.
And it's free.
And it's free.
There we go.
Any last words for the audience, Miss Werner?
No, and I will put the name of that book. I know it's Together, but it's, you know, something to do with the loneliness epidemic. So I'll list that too. So listeners, if they're interested in, you know, going and getting that, they can.
And of course, if you're in Austin or going to be in Austin, come to FIESTA.
Third Tuesday, every month at Capital Factory, 5:30 to 8:30. We'd love to see you. And I think the women's Lunch and Learn will be the first Wednesday of each month, and more to come. I think we're looking at co-working events once a month or twice a month, and also a hackathon quarterly, and possibly a pitch competition. So yeah, fun things.
Thank you for being here, Cherie. We really appreciate it.
Thanks so much for having me. It was delightful meeting both of you, and I enjoyed my time. Have a great evening.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Take care.